All right, today's review is going to be on oat milk. This has to be the hottest alternative milk, and and you know what? In many ways, I'm proud that there are now more options away from dairy. I really don't know why dairy's even still in existence because oats are booming right now. This oat milk craze is booming. And it's been for like maybe 2 years, especially last year. There was actually a $1.1 billion drop in 2018 for dairy, right? For milk versus the year before. And in 2018, nut milks went up by 1.6 billion. Okay, so over the last 5 years, non-dairy grew by 61%. And now the dairy industry is fighting feverishly for even these companies to take out the word milk, right? So they have a monopoly over the word milk because they're losing so much money. My theory is that people are just becoming smarter and more informed and knowing that dairy can be destructive to health from right after breastfeeding all the way to elder. It destroys the body. It's crap. It's not made for us. Nature certainly didn't intend for us to be drinking another species' milk. It's one of the most unnatural acts that I can think of. It's pretty crazy that we do every single day. So yeah, I mean, I'm behind plant milk and alternative milks, but I also want them to be good quality. I also want them to be nutritious, right? So that's what we're going to talk about today. So last year, particularly the most popular one is the Oatly oat milk, and their demand just boomed to the point where there was actually a shortage of Oatly oat milk. This is out of Sweden. So they rose last year 52%, and almond milk rose by 11%, and all plant milk growth was about 9%. But what we see is that there's a craze for it, and it's really because it's thicker, it's smoother, and people love adding it to coffee, and people love coffee. I did a whole show on that, right? But I want to speak about quality, right? Because if you're drinking oat milk, particularly every single day, we need to find out which one is the best one out there. So like always, I start with the really, really crappy one and then go from there, right? After Oatly started booming, other big companies like Pepsi and this one, Quaker Oat Beverage, jumped in on the money train. Man, I've never been a fan of Quaker, to be honest. I used to eat it when I wasn't informed. But what happened is that Quaker jumped in on it, and now they're making oat milk. And look, when you look at nutritionally, not super high in carbs compared to the others, definitely not as high in sugar, right? So nutrition fact-wise, right? We're looking at macronutrients for all you macronutrient fiends. It's not that bad, but you got to think about quality. And we know Quaker is some of the worst quality oats out there. Why? Because Quaker don't give a damn about your health. They will spray their oats with glyphosate as a drying agent. Do you remember how many times I've spoke about glyphosate on this show, on Instagram? I don't even have a Twitter, but if I did, I would speak about it all the time on Twitter. You have to understand that glyphosate is not something that shouldn't be in our food system, that is by no means definitively safe. So this is a company that uses glyphosate as a desiccant, a drying agent. And now we have it in concentrated milk. So basically what you're drinking is oat glyphosate beverage, super smooth. And that ain't right. That's not right for me, right? It does have some added brown sugar, sunflower oil, which is a little bit more it is more inflammatory than other oils. And it has some gums fortified with some vitamins, but you know, the sourcing of the vitamins, you have no idea. It talks nothing about organic. It talks nothing about non-GMO. This shouldn't even be on our shelves, to be honest. Actually, Quaker Oats shouldn't be on our shelves. It's probably the most famous one, but you know, it's the cheapest one. It's the worst quality one. So first and foremost, oat beverage, never, ever buy oat from Quaker. All right? No oat milk from Quaker. Let me go into this one. All right. Oatly. Oatly, I want to be a huge supporter of. I want to because their marketing is great, right? It says, wow, no cow. Another billboard that I saw, it says, it's like milk, but made for humans, which is actually a brilliant line. I love that, and I can get behind that. But I want to inform you about a little something that they do, and many of these companies do. Oatly basically it used to have on its cover no added sugar. All right. But they can't have that anymore because their process of extracting or making oat milk is like this. They take the oats, they take the water, and they add an enzyme to it. That enzymatic process, which occurs to create this oat milk, breaks down the oat starch. And what happens is simple sugars are created, primarily glucose and maltose. Now, when you look at the back of the Oatly nutrition facts, you will see that in 1 cup of oat milk, you get 7 grams of sugar. 7 grams of sugar. But they do not need to add in that enzymatic process, the products that are made from that, the glucose and the maltose, in their nutrient facts in the back. So really what I'm trying to say is this. This has 7 grams of sugar, but you ever notice that oat milk is a lot sweeter than 7 grams of sugar? At this point, I think we should all be aware of what 5 grams of sugar tastes like, 21 grams of sugar tastes like. To me, it tastes like it's a lot more than that. Well, it is, because they don't need to disclose the amount of sugar that is really in oat milk. So you see 7 grams, but it's not necessarily 7 grams. So keep that in mind when you especially have Oatly oat milk and or many of these other oat milks, the same process, okay? So already something to think about. And unfortunately, a lot of these companies remove the fiber, and I get it because it's insoluble and it would make the drink taste less palatable. But another thing that I don't like about Oatly oat milk is that we don't have an organic label. Now they say it comes from 100% organic oats, or it used to actually. This one doesn't say it. It used to come from 100% organic oats in Sweden, but you know, it didn't even have a label for organic oats in Sweden. Now it's telling me that it's non-GMO, and non-GMO in the context of oats means that the oats aren't genetically modified, but they're not genetically modified food. But theoretically, they're not sprayed with glyphosate. I don't think that that's a guarantee. What is a better guarantee is a USDA organic label. Okay, doesn't have that. It has the non-GMO verified label, which causes a hella confusion for so many people. It has rapeseed oil, which I'm not a fan of at all, because rapeseed oil is canola oil. Canola oil is a genetically modified food. So with the non-GMO verification, we know that the rapeseed oil is not genetically modified, but it does not guarantee that it is extracted and processed. It is not extracted and processed with a solvent called hexane. Hexane is a nasty solvent. Nasty one. It's very toxic. This is why canola oil in general is toxic, aside from its profile. It shouldn't be in the food system. So what I'm trying to say is this. Oatly oat milk, it has oats, no guarantee they're organic, no guarantee that they're not sprayed with glyphosate. It has rapeseed oil. Why use any other oil? But it has canola oil, no guarantee that it's not used or extracted with the solvent hexane. And then it's fortified with vitamins, which I do like, great. But where's the sourcing? It's kind of hard to get in touch with them too, but where's the sourcing on this? Look, this is the most popular one by far. But y'all need to understand that we don't necessarily know how good quality is. It's a little ambiguous. I love what they're doing to move people away from milk. Great marketing, but I wouldn't consider this a really healthy drink. Certainly not something that you should be drinking every single day and should be part of your diet, right? Don't go crazy with it. I mean, if you go to a coffee shop and they give you some and you say oat milk, what type you have? They have Oatly. You can add it in there. You ain't gonna die. But just know that this should not be until Oatly shows me USDA organic, until Oatly removes canola oil, then I'll get behind it 100%. At this point, I'm not even behind it. All right, that's Oatly. So now you're like, oh, well, I love oat milk. What am I supposed to drink? To be honest, because I believe oat milk is in its infancy, there are not that many good options. I know you don't want to hear it, but there are not that many good options. Will there be this year, at the end of this year? Probably. Word on the street is Malk is making an oat milk. I know Malk makes high quality almond milk, so I'm hoping that they follow through on their oat milk with the USDA organic label, no canola oil. Oat milk should just be oats and water, and pretty much that's it. So the other ones that I have on here are same idea, right? This one's Planet Oak oat milk. It has a non-GMO label, you know, same exact thing, oat milk, and it's actually even a little bit better than Oatly. It does have natural vanilla flavor, not organic, natural flavors, not organic. So again, a little ambiguous. We don't know anything about the oats other than they're non-GMO, but guess what? Oats aren't a genetically modified food. So please, can someone tell me if these oats are being sprayed and dried with glyphosate? So really, I only found 2 pretty good ones in my research. I didn't bring them on here, but I saw them on the internet. Thrive Organic Market has an oat milk that is just water and oats, and it's USDA organic. The other one is Pacific Foods. These are the 2 that I found that were organic, right? Thrive and Pacific Foods. The trade-off is that they have more sugar. 13 grams of sugar for the Thrive, 17 grams of sugar for Pacific. That's a lot of sugar in one shot. So if you're gonna have oat milk, probably the best bet would be to have, let's say you have it in your coffee. You're not gonna be having a full cup, unless you're having a cup of oat milk with a side of coffee, but you're not gonna be having a full cup. So I would actually go more with Pacific Foods or Thrive Market, because we know it's so important for me to know that the quality, right? There's no glyphosate in it, that it's not extracted with toxic solvents. I wanna know that the quality of my oats are better. And with that sacrifice is the sugar part. But again, it shouldn't be something that you're using every single day. You're not having 2 cups of it a day. Khalifa Farms makes another one. They say they have non-GMO. Okay, nice thing is it's gluten-free. Oats are implicated a lot in cross-contamination. So if you have gluten or celiac disease, gluten intolerance or celiac disease, then pay close attention to what oat milk you're getting. So here's a take-home. You're shopping for oat milk. Here's what you got to look for. 1, know that the nutrition fact label of the sugars, it's probably higher than you see, because many of these companies use an enzymatic extraction that raises the amount of sugar inherently in the oat milk that they don't need to disclose. Avoid any ones with added flavors or like a chocolate oat milk, because that's already boosting up that sugar plus whatever's inherently in there. Know that most of these oat milks don't use the organic label, but certainly look for that organic label on your oat milk. It's really important. I do believe there'll be more this year, but let's stay tuned. Try to get ones that are just really oats and water. The more simpler the ingredients, the better. There's a lot of gums and natural flavors that can be very ambiguous. And gluten for cross-contamination. Make sure your oats aren't cross-contaminated. Make sure it says 100% gluten-free, so you don't predispose yourself to any reactions. And at this point, yeah, like I said, use oat milk sparingly, especially with these companies that I mentioned. There are, at this point, more established, better choices right now, like almond, hemp, coconut, and soy milks. They have those organic and really clean ones out there. I did a whole show on them, so you can check that, one of the earlier episodes. So that's the final verdict on oat milk. If I made any of you mad, I'm sorry. If I made any of you sad, I'm sad too. But look, the future is bright.